you to the Pine Creek Railroad and the New Jersey Museum of Transportation. We are one of the oldest continuously operating steam preservation societies in the country. We started out back in 1952 out on Route 9 just north of Freehold, and we moved here to the State Park in 1962. We've been here ever since. Now, the one major problem with being on state property is everybody assumes the state is paying for all of this, and that we're all state employees here. And wrong on both counts. State does not supply one dime for the operation of this railroad, never has. And everyone you see working here is a volunteer. None of us get paid to do this. We do this because we love doing it. We are a 501c corporation, not-for-profit, so any donations are tax deductible. A little bit about the train we're running today. Our diesel locomotive number 7751 is a former U.S. Army unit. Originally built in October 1942 by General Electric up in Schenectady, New York. It was one of an order of 10 locomotives going out to Hawaii to serve the Army at the main base at Pearl Harbor. Two of them still exist. Ours and the number 7750 still exist in Hawaii. A standard General Electric 25-ton industrial design switcher with a 6-cylinder diesel engine and powers a generator which powers one electric motor with the rear axle. The front axle powered by a big chain.
Oh man.
Most of you are riding in our open car. Our open car is a former U.S. Navy flat car, one of two that we have on the property. Also built during World War II. They were used to move munitions and supplies from the docks at Pearl Harbor to the various military bases around the island of Oahu. Later, when those supplies were needed, they'd have been reloaded onto the flats, taken back to the docks, and put onto ships headed out into the combat zones. When we got them, they were just bare frames. You'll see the second car is around behind the car barn. You'll see how we get them. And then we had to add the wooden decking and the seats and the handrails and the canopy and all that stuff to it to make it usable for passenger service. And then the last car on today's train is our Little Red Caboose. Our Little Red Caboose is our oldest piece of equipment. In fact, it's one of the 10 oldest pieces of equipment in operation anywhere in the country on a regular basis. Our car is 147 years old. Originally built in 1874 as a boxcar, it ran until 1902, by which time the railroads needed larger cars. These old wooden cars were just too small to be economical.
You have to take it.
So the railroad took 50 of them and converted them into cabooses to save money.
It's digital.
Being of Scottish ancestry, I like saving money. My wife seems to think I'm cheap. I like to think of myself as frugal, but I figured they ran this car as a caboose until 1972, when they finally retired it at age 98. We acquired it, and within a couple of months had it here at the park and on narrow gauge trucks, and it's been running here ever since. So it's been running for 147 years somewhere in the state of New Jersey. When you consider the original boxcar would have cost less than $1,500 to build in 1874, and considerably less than $1,000, probably even somewhere around $600 to convert and equip it as a caboose in 1902, that's not a bad return on your investment. Don't you wish your new car would last half that long? Now, some of the buildings here in the station area, the building where you boarded the train is the old Fresno station. This would have been the first stop out of Mattawan headed towards Freehold on the old C&J branch line. And it was named for an American Revolutionary War era poet who lived in the area. And we've actually moved this station twice. We moved it from Fresno to our Route 9 location. And then in 63 or 64 was one of the last truckloads of stuff to be brought down from the Route 9 location to here at the park. The building with the large glass windows is the Union Newsstand. Now this one came from the Manasquan station, but the Union News Company had the franchise for all of the stations just about in New Jersey. And that's where commuters would have gotten their newspapers, magazines, tobacco, candy, whatever, in the morning to go to the city. They were actually designed so that they could be picked up, put on a flat car, and moved to another station depending on demand. If a station suddenly didn't have many riders anymore, they could pick it up and move it to a station that had a lot of riders that needed more service. And then the last building, all the way down the end with a ticket sign on the top of it, that's the former Allenwood station. That was just a few hundred yards down the track here in front of the station. That was built in 1944 during the war using scrap lumber, basically, whatever they could scrounge up. There was a building supply shortage, so they used stuff from buildings torn down or left over from other construction. Okay, a couple of safety announcements. Once we start moving, you cannot move from your seat. You must remain seated throughout the ride. And state and federal mandates on mass transit or public transit, you must wear your mask over your mouth and nose at all times on the train. The other possibility is we suggest you keep your arms and legs and whatever inside the car at all times. There are several places where the briar bushes and the holly trees get very close to the track. We don't want you to get scratched up or get ripped out of the car, even some of the briar bushes. All right, all aboard. Through this little piece of woods here, down two fields. The field on the left is used for overflow parking. Whenever there's a major event here below, you need extra parking, you use this field on the left. There's small rows of grass on the lane markers for parking. Baseball games over there, and a lot of other special events over there. So both of these grade crossings, although most of the years are not used, they are still active. They do have to go to homes for them. Farmingdale, Freehold, Jamesburg, and all over Mount Junction. Or Freehold, Jamesburg, and Farmingdale, Swan areas. Now, one time that was a fairly popular route for passengers coming from West Jersey, area, making military construction towards the National Park, going from Long Branch. The last scheduled passenger train on there was a one-car Doodle boat that started in the mornings at Red Bank, came down to Cedar, went out to Monmouth Junction, and down to Trenton. And then in the afternoon, they ran that route in reverse. Now, the only people who rode on the parochial school students headed to parochial high schools in the Trenton area. When that train was finally discontinued, the railroad wasted no time flying Savor and